I now want to talk about Ohio State quarterback and NFL prospect Justin Fields. I believe there are two generational talents at the quarterback position in the 2021 NFL draft. Those two guys are Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. I consider them 1A and 1B. I'm a big-time believer in what Justin Fields brings to the table. Okay? I really don't understand why so many people are struggling to embrace Justin Fields. We're talking about a guy that makes great decisions with the football. He doesn't turn the football over a lot. He's an accurate passer. He's got a really strong arm. And he runs the 40-yard dash at 4.41 seconds. Okay? He has talent that is off the charts. And in today's NFL, the traditional pocket passer is kind of a turnoff. NFL coaches and NFL general managers are kind of wanting a quarterback that can run around and make a ton of plays, like Patrick Mahomes, like Kyler Murray, like Aaron Rodgers, like Deshaun Watson. There is a place in the NFL for the Tom Brady and Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers of the world. But if I can get a guy that can extend plays and make all the plays from the pocket, I want that guy. And Justin Fields, he has elite traits, and he can make every throw on the field, and he can win from the pocket. I have no problem with Justin Fields dropping back and throwing the ball 30 to 40 times. I have no problem with that. Not to mention he can run around and make plays, and he's a dynamic runner of the football in the open field. That guy looks like a running back at times in the open field. And Justin Fields won a lot of games at Ohio State. He went 20-2 as a starter. He led his team to the national championship game in which they lost to Alabama, this past season. I don't hold that against Justin Fields too much because it was going to be a tall task for Ohio State to defeat Alabama, okay? Sure, Ohio State was good, but they weren't as good as Alabama, And I get it. Justin Fields did have a bad game versus Northwestern. He didn't play his best football versus Indiana this past year. But to me, all that doesn't really matter all that much in the grand scheme of things. We can all pick apart one or two throws or one or two games and say, oh man, that prospect looks really bad. But I care about your body of work. And those two games do not reflect who Justin Fields is as a quarterback. And a lot of the mistakes that Justin Fields made in those two games, those mistakes can easily be corrected. At times he holds onto the football a little bit too long. His mechanics could use some work a little bit. But overall, Justin Fields presents a lot of things that NFL teams are going to fall in love with. Or at least they should fall in love with it. I'm sick and tired of everyone, banging on Justin Fields saying he can't read defenses. He's not an accurate quarterback. Those people did not watch enough Justin Fields games, especially this past year. Because, look, if you would have told me Justin Fields was going to enter the NFL after last year, I'd say to myself, the traits are there, but he's not quite ready yet. This past year, Justin Fields answered a lot of questions. He got better in every single aspect of his game, and he already had the elite traits. I just needed to see him go out there and really get better in another season and put together some good tape, and he did just that. And, people overanalyze Justin Herbert saying the guy can't read defenses. He's not that accurate. I was actually one of the people that had questions about Justin Herbert, but I ignored the elite traits that Justin Herbert presented to the table. People, banged on Patrick Mahomes. They said, oh, Patrick Mahomes, he can't read defenses. Patrick Mahomes goes to Andy Reid. He gets developed properly. He becomes the best player in all football. People were, knocking Deshaun Watson with his turnovers. And Deshaun Watson did have 30 turnovers in his final 30 games at Clemson between his sophomore and junior year. So those questions were, somewhat fair. But Justin Fields did not turn the football over at the clip that Deshaun Watson turned the football over in college. And Deshaun Watson turned out to be an excellent pro. So all I'm trying to say, people, is this. Does Justin Fields have some things that need to be ironed out a little bit? Sure. But if you watch him play, I think he can come into the NFL day one and be a good starter. And as time goes on, once he continues to get more and more experience, I believe Justin Fields is really going to take off. Justin Fields can become one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I believe He's going to be a future franchise quarterback if developed properly and if he gets the right coaching staff around him. I'm a big-time believer in Justin Fields, and he's a guy that I'm not passing on. He's a generational talent, and Justin Fields, to me, has a chance to be a special quarterback in the NFL one day. No doubt about it. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God-blessed day, and I'm out.